friend's army and marveled at the absolute genius Pompey showed for organization, logistics. No detail was overlooked, yet the enormous undertakings were executed with the speed only superb efficiency permitted. I have been absorbed into the very small private circle of a true phenomenon, he thought. He will change the way our world is. He will change the way we see our world. There is not one iota of fear in him, nor one hairline crack in his self-confidence. Almost from infancy, Pompey had lived within the most colossal daydreams. In his mind, he had generalled 10,000 battles, ridden in the antique victor's chariot of 100 triumphs, stood time and again like Jupiter, while Rome bowed down to worship him, the greatest man who had ever lived. Where Pompey the dreamer differed from all others of that sort was in the quality of his contact with reality. He saw the actual world with hard and sharp acuity, fastened his mind upon facts the size of mountains, facts as diminutive as one drop of clearest water. His men, their accoutrements, even the pack animals and wagons, everything would be perfect, because nothing could be allowed to happen that would show him up as less than perfect himself. There were 3 battles on their way to Beneventum, where Sulla was now camped, against detachments of anti-Sulla forces who thought it would be easy to destroy this youngster. Pompey and his men won all of them. After none of his 3 battles had Pompey attempted to pursue his foes, not because he didn't know the lay of the land, nor because he was wary of a trap, but because he was obsessed with the coming meeting with Lucius Cornelius Sulla. Visions of it unrolled before his dreaming eyes. 2 godlike men with hair of flame and faces both strong and beautiful, uncoiled from their saddles with the grace and power of giant cats, and walked with measured, stately steps toward each other. An army behind each of these magnificent men. Zeus striding to meet Jupiter, the 2 suns in the sky. And while the setting sun was still hot and strong, its course was nearing an end. Ah, but the rising sun, hot and strong already, yet with all the soaring vault before it, in which to grow ever hotter, ever stronger. Pompey sent Varro ahead to make arrangements, but when he and his legions came over the brow of a slight hill and looked down, there, waiting in the middle of the road upon an unutterably weary mule, was Lucius Cornelius Sulla, attended only by Varro. Pompey ordered his soldiers to halt and rode down the slope. When he came within 100 paces of the mule, Sulla more or less fell off it, keeping his feet by throwing one arm around the mule's neck. Pompey dismounted. As he drew ever closer, he began to discern the ravages of time and awful malaise. For one thing, Sulla was drunk. That Pompey might have been able to forgive, had this been the Sulla he remembered. But of that startlingly beautiful and fascinating man, nothing was left, not even the dignity of a thatch of grey hair. Sulla wore a wig to cover his hairless skull, a hideous ginger-red affair with tight little curls. His teeth were gone. The skin of his face looked as if it had been flayed, most of it a raw and bloody crimson, some few places still showing their original whiteness. He was thin to the point of scrawniness, and vast hollow wattles transformed his neck into a vulturine travesty. Pompey stretched out his right hand, fingers spread, palm vertical. "Imperator!" he cried. Sulla giggled, made a huge effort, returned the general's salute, then fell against Pompey. Together Varro and Pompey got him back onto his mule. Pompey beckoned his troops to follow, remounted, and they rode on into Beneventum. "I don't believe it," Pompey cried to Varro, after they had handed the almost insensible Sulla over to his keepers. "It's his skin, poor man. When he became almost fatally ill, his doctors sent him..."